Off the top of my head, I think this might be the closest together we've had a film and then its sequel in recent memory. If you could tell me the last time we had two films in the same franchise released this closely together back to back, please put it in the comments down below because I'm honestly curious as I was formulating my thoughts on The Bone Temple. So, this is, like I mentioned, the second film in a series. The first one, obviously, with this particular set of characters, was 28 years later, which came out June of 2025. And it basically picks up right where the first film ends. We see Spike and his new crew, I guess we'll call them, of Jimmy's. And it, when I say it picks up right after, I mean, I was shocked at how it was like 5 minutes later, it felt like. I mean, I know it wasn't, but it sure felt like it. And it hits the ground running as they once again traverse this dangerous, bleak, apocalyptic world that they are all living in. And let's just right off the bat say, I loved this movie. I really, really did. And I enjoyed 28 Years Later quite a bit. I liked a lot of what it was doing. I thought a lot of the decisions it was making were different and kind of set this franchise up to go in a different direction. And so I was very excited for the Bone Temple. I was a bit skeptical regarding a second director coming in with Nia DaCosta. I think she's a very talented filmmaker, but I was interested to see how the tone and the vision of this world would carry through with a new director in the director's chair. And I have to say, after just a few minutes, all of that skepticism was gone. I thought what Nia DaCosta did, especially in one of the first scenes, was excellent. And then she kept up the tone, she kept up the bleak nature of this world, and really, her and Garland are able to take the surface subject matter and bring so much depth and thought provoking material to it in a way that I was not expecting to ponder as I was watching this movie, and then subsequently as I was leaving the theater. I found myself thinking about this movie for a while after it ended, which is not something that I necessarily had with the first 28 years later. Ralph Fiennes in here is also excellent. Jack O'Connell is a horrifying, sadistic human being, and his crew. I like a lot of what they are doing with that set of characters. And the way it all comes together in the third act, honestly, had me sitting up in my chair. I went from being invested to fully locked into what I knew was coming. And I just enjoyed the heck out of this movie. Spike is in here. And I'd say, interestingly enough, he does sort of get sidelined to focus on Kelson and the crew of Jimmy's, particularly Jack O'Connell's Jimmy Crystal, who, like I said, is a very sadistic, evil, mentally corroded individual. And what they did with him and his idea on the devil and how he is the son of the devil based off of what we see in the cold open of 28 years later, how that influences his choices as an adult. I found all of this incredibly fascinating to watch and then think about. And on top of all of this, if this was not enough, they make some choices with Samson, the zombie, well, I guess infected in this case, that Kelson kind of befriends. And what they do with him, I found very interesting. And all of this just sets up a third film that I cannot wait to see. I didn't expect to come out of this enjoying it as much as I did, but I got a massive kick out of it. And what I loved the most was the unafraidness. I know that's not a word, but I'm going to say it anyway. The ability to not just do what we've seen before. So what I mean by that is, yes, there are zombies in this. God, I keep saying zombies. Infected is what they're called in this franchise. They're there. They're present. We see them. We see them kill. But they are not at the forefront like they are in, say, 28 Days Later or even 28 Years Later. They have a very predominant presence there. Here, we focus on the human side of this world and how, despite being a world with infected individuals, somehow, humans are still the most evil thing on this land, I guess we'll call it, on this portion of the world. It was just fascinating, and I didn't ever find myself wanting to see more infected kills. I got it right that time. I was so curious as to what these human characters were going to do, and they provided enough brutality that I didn't need to see infected ripping off heads and doing some of the things that we see the human characters do. I did not need to see any of that come from the infected. I was fully wrapped up in the human characters, and it made me kind of saddened, I guess, in a way, that when we get to the third film, we're probably going to see more infected. I want to learn more about the world from the human side here. There isn't much good here. In terms of good versus evil, this is a very bleak and sadistic and cruel and punishing world that all of these characters are living in, and we're watching how that environment crafts them as human beings. And Spike, at an impressionable age, I'm curious to see what it does to him. This just sets up a lot of pieces that I cannot wait to see continue and probably come to a close. I don't anticipate any more movies coming after the third 28 Years film, but you better believe that I will be seated day one to watch this conclusion, because I got a big kick out of this one. It feels weird saying this in January, but I will probably have this somewhere on my top 10 list come December, or very likely an honorable mention. I was floored by this. I honestly was. It's not going to be the best film of the year, but I found it to be a damn entertaining, thought-provoking, creepy, well-constructed horror flick that I cannot wait to watch again. So, have you seen 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much, as always, for watching this video, and, well, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.